Hey guys, you just caught me grabbing my Blu-ray triple feature collection of the Austin Powers trilogy. Now you're asking, Andrew, why are you holding that and starting this video like this? Or maybe you're just not and you're clicking on this video because I shared it on whatever I shared it on. Well, I decided this week I wanted to go through all three of the movies because, quite frankly, the Austin Powers series is a fun little ride of cool little soundtracks and nice little cool fun moments. Just in general, they're all very fun movies that don't require you to think too much, but are actually pretty good tributes to the James Bond movies as well. Now, granted, this is also a tribute to the 70s, 60s, other movies that we could sit here all day and talk about in, like, Flint and all these other movies that it references. But mainly, we'll talk about, first, this one right here. Austin Powers, International Man of Spy. Ah, man. What a great little movie it is. So, Austin Powers, International Man of Spy is basically a movie where it starts with Austin in the 60s, and everything is wild. Ah, yes, the 60s. Everything was all relaxed. Everybody had free love. Ah, yes. But this movie then proceeds to having Austin frozen because Dr. Evil goes into space to freeze himself, to go into the 90s, and then take over the world later. So this is kind of a fish out of water experience for Austin Powers to experience a world that's much more different, much more progressive, much more, grounded, and, everything is much more serious than when he was in the world. And the movie at times takes itself very seriously, with Austin struggling to get through to the 90s and realizing that things have changed. And I do want to give Mike Myers a lot of credit for being funny on the spot, but also having serious dialogue in the film that actually meant something and was actually serious. While yes, it is followed by a joke, when the movie gets serious, the movie gets serious. So I'll give you a really great example. So there's a scene where Austin takes Vanessa out on a date, and, he takes her around the town, and he tries to show her, that he's actually a good guy, and that he wants to impress her and not just sleep with her. And he, takes her on this little, ride of the whole thing of Vegas, and he has Burt Bacharach and the wine and the food. So once they finally get to the hotel, he's not really drunk, but she is. And she basically says, let's shag, and he understands that she is not in a sober state. So he goes, that's not right, I can't do that, you're drunk. And to have the character of Austin Powers understand that a woman cannot consent in a state that is not sober is, one, intellectual, two, deeper than it really should have been, Three, it's a very sweet moment to show us that not only does he care about Vanessa as a person, but he actually cares about her enough to, make sure that if they're going to do that, that she has to be in the correct mind state, not like he himself too, but she does as well. So, going into that, there's not a lot more serious moments after that, but that is the one moment that made me go, wow, they really had something here, didn't they? And there is a lot of other wacky stuff that happens after that, like Scott Evil and, all the cool little stuff that goes on throughout this whole little movie. But just in general, it's a fun little. It really is a timestamp of the '90s, like how much like AOL references there are, and all the cool little cars that are going on, and all that nice little stuff. But this movie is also just a reference to James Bond in general, and how silly but like cool the movies were supposed to be. The thing is, this movie does take the references very, very seriously. But it also isn't afraid to poke at fun at those movies as well. And in my eyes, if you can have authenticity to your jokes and actually reference those things without being corny or poking at it to be like, this is the joke, then in my eyes, that's a good little thing that you did. You made a joke, it's actually funny, and it's actually authentic, and it works. Which is why my final rating for Austin Powers, International Man of Mystery, please don't crucify me, is a 9 out of 10. I know, that's very high. But you know what? I love the soundtrack. I love the comedy in this movie. I love the music, which is the same thing as the soundtrack. I love the score. I love Mike Myers in it in general. Gosh, it's just a good movie. And God forbid, if you haven't seen this movie, rest in peace. I don't know what's wrong with you, man. Pick this up on Amazon right now. Because you know what? This movie rules, and you at home should watch it. Have a good day, everyone.